3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the first episode of Anime Fun Time. So good, they might even call it Super Anime Fun Time. I'm your host, Ben Viola, and for me, I'll just start off by saying that I've been watching anime for as long as I can remember, growing up on shows like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, as well as Dragon Ball and Naruto. But enough about me, let's get to my co-hosts, my guests, my good friends. We'll start with you, Mr. Longo.
Yep. Hi, I'm Dean Longo. I got to thank my two older brothers for getting me into anime, because ever since they have, I've been hooked on it. Just like shows like Attack on Titan, which is my favorite. And I'm just glad to be here talking with you guys about it.
Awesome. Moving on, Mr. Drake.
Yes, hello. I remember, of course, I probably started out as a child with watching Digimon, as everyone did, except for some people. But then I think, towards late elementary school, I started staying up later and catching Toonami and getting really into Naruto in middle school.
Awesome. And finally, not last, but finally, Mr. Hickerson.
Hey, I'm Dylan Hickerson. I got a similar story to all these guys. I've been watching anime since I was a kid, and it's been a part of my life ever since.
Awesome. Real quick, before we get started, I'll go over our topics for today. Today we'll be doing new gen versus old gen. We'll then be going into deep anime stories, and then after that, my personal favorite, live action adaptation of anime, both Western and Eastern, both good and bad. So let's kick it off right now, guys, with new gen versus old gen.
Oh, yeah, so, for me personally, I would have to lean towards old gen, animes like Dragon Ball and Naruto, I feel like they really set the tone for new anime. Just the animation, the fighting style, all of that, you could certainly see it in the new generation.
Yeah, I agree, disagree with that. It's old gen definitely is timeless. It's amazing, but I gotta go with new gen. I feel like the animation to it is just too good to pass it up, and then there's the new stories that they created, and just all these shows that are coming out. I feel like there's a new anime show every month. Now, with Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, those are just the classics to me now.
Me personally, I'm going to be the neutral zone for this. I grew up on a lot of old shows like original Naruto. Dragon Ball Z is my favorite show of all time, Robotech. But I actually lean more towards new gen. I prefer character design, story elements, and animation, as well as swordplay, if you will, in new gen anime. So I'm pretty much the neutral, but I have to say I do lean more new gen.
Sure, I gotta agree with that.
I'm going to play the wild card here because my top 3 anime are series that started out sort of in mid to late 90s and have had recent revivals, new generation revivals, which, number 3 would be Fooly Cooly, which had a 2nd and 3rd season recently.
These just came out, the new seasons.
The new seasons, they're about a year or two old, a year and a half. Alternative and progressive, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a great thing that also brings up, we have new gen versus old gen, but we also have animes that have come from old gen into new gen.
Mm-hmm.
We have things like...
number 2 would be Hunter x Hunter.
Hunter Hunter is a great one, or JoJo.
Which that started out as a TV series in 1999, and that is the series that they did in 2011, which they have been dubbing into in English recently. They're still going with that.
Glad they did this, because this is a great show.
It's shows like that, or shows like Naruto that started, and some might consider Naruto old gen, some might consider, original Dragon Ball.
I would put it in middle of the road.
Or if we look at original Dragon Ball to Z to Super, that's kind of one continuous storyline in a sense that's been going on since old gen transitioned into new gen, and we can see that these old characters can still kind of live up into new gen styles, but we've also seen...
And there's still newer projects coming out, like Evangelion. This started out as a television series in 1995. and they've been doing it's been reworked as the Rebuild series.
Yep. Or
And
right
this came
now.
out in 2012, but they're doing a fourth and final one this upcoming, probably next year.
Or
Yeah, I
even,
heard that. I heard
So,
it's gonna
yeah.
be next year.
or even with Eva. Sticking with Eva, we have to move on to our next one, which so glad you brought up Eva because now we're gonna be talking about deep anime storylines.
It's very deep emotional
Yep.
storylines. Evangelion, I
Deepest,
would,
like a nice big blue ocean.
yes.
Yeah.
Or the Red
filled
Ocean,
with
if you're talking about
tears.
these.
Ava is an anime that's very popular that I've yet to see myself. I know I've been really wanting to watch it. I've had no free time.
Haven't seen it
Going to be
either.
watching it soon. Now, a lot of people might think because it's a cartoon or because of various other reasons that Ava, in a sense, might be 100 episodes, but that's not the case.
Oh, no, it's 26 episodes.
26 episodes, and this
originally.
is one of the deepest anime. Now, some people might think, oh, maybe it's not that deep, then only 26 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much can you really accomplish that? But
They
that's
have
not-
added on to it the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
They kind of do like a remake, sort of.
Exactly, and it's not.
They ran
uncommon.
out of money animation,
Oh.
and the last 2 episodes sort of had to
Do their own
do
thing.
sort of
Experiment.
creative, experimental kind of animation, and they redid it with the end of Evangelion film that came out in '97 in the theaters.
And that's not uncommon in anime to have these really deep storylines with only sometimes as few as 12 episodes or 26 episodes more common than
Yeah,
26.
I-
to have these really deep storylines.
You got
It's so much easier to watch that stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
do
that's
it.
another thing.
deep emotional, but you
Yeah.
also got deep on lore, like
Yeah,
Naruto.
for sure.
Yeah,
For
because
sure,
there are
like-
shows like Naruto
That have a rich
that
backstory.
are what 500 episodes,
Yeah.
and
It's hard
you
to
want
get
to tell us
into.
about that?
Yeah, so something like Naruto, it's there's a lot of layers to it, right? But
And filler.
filler, okay, granted.
Half
But
the
they do
show
want to
is
keep
filler.
up with the manga.
Yeah.
So the filler with Naruto really tends to tie into the rest of the series.
Yeah, 'cause
so
it
it's not
matches
you're not
with-
wasting your time. There.
Yeah.
But as you're aware, there is a lot like someone like you or me who's very much into Naruto. We could talk about the little. I mean, maybe someone with a 26 episode anime,
Right.
like the
Yeah.
season 1 of My Hero or whatever, which does go into these characters a lot. We can talk about the characters, but we can't really talk about the world in a sense. But with me
Yeah.
and you, when it comes
Yeah.
to Naruto or Dragon Ball Z, or not even
And, it's,
There's
and
so
it
many-
also grants like
Dragon Ball Z has world building.
it also grants like
Quite
a bigger
literally.
following to an extent because people like me and Ben, like we've grown up with Naruto and stuff like that. We the last episode of Shippuden came out 2 years ago,
only
3
2 years ago.
Yeah,
but
nothing.
the show
So-
started in 2007. Well, Shippuden
Yeah.
started in 2007.
Exactly, like we
I
grew
thought it
up
was
on
2008.
No, 2007. That's
2007?
when it aired. Yeah.
But with like a show like that, I feel like there's so many small things that people
Will
like
miss.
remember. No, I feel like they remember
Yeah.
because there's so many episodes, so they learn so much more about
So many
the
episodes, but
characters.
there's like a lot of
just-
subtleties that's
Yeah,
lost
yeah.
as well.
It just shows that whether you're a long form show or a short form show, you can pretty much cover what you want in an anime. It's not uncommon. It's one of those things that kind of has it all, and it's kind of awesome for that reason. It still has its own style to it, and its
For
own
sure.
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Style can be lost, can it, boys? Because I'd like to now talk about what I've been waiting to talk about this whole time.
Yeah,
and that is
this is a tough one.
live adaptation of anime. And as you can see, right there on screen, Dragon Ball Evolution.
Does not work.
One of the worst ones.
Now that is
ever.
an example of bad anime movies.
Just-
I'm sure you saw it when it
It's an
came out.
Yeah.
It is an example of good makeup, though.
Example of
Good
good
makeup, but
That's
my
Yeah,
not
you saw
what
how
we
Piccolo looked.
Yeah.
not good.
Pretty good.
During the times.
we know it's bad, right?
Yeah.
That
It is
doesn't
no
mean
good.
that now in the modern day, with anime becoming more and more popular in American pop culture as well as just, in everyone's pop culture.
Yeah.
anime's
World
doing well.
culture.
Yeah, directors, filmmakers have gotten more of a stand because we now have films such as, if you don't mind, films like
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell, or you want to talk about
The Scarlett
Battle
Johansson.
Angel, correct?
Yeah, Alita Battle
Oh,
Angel.
yes.
That is a new movie that just came out last year, I think, and it is definitely has done very well compared to all the other ones that have been made.
And this one here, I know it didn't do super well with film audiences. It was not bad. It was more neutral.
Oh, the Scarlett Johansson one.
Yeah, it was-
I believe the general consensus was it's
bad.
all right.
But with anime fans, and my brother, who's a huge fan of that, he loved it. We have some more light at the end of the tunnel, though, going on. And that for me, boys, is Dean, I know for you, something that you really like. You're a big Attack on Titan guy.
Yes.
And what just happened with that?
Well, there's been a lot of news have just risen
dropped.
about they're making a live
It was an
action.
interrupt.
Yep, it's been fully picked up, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Rights by Universal, I believe.
Yeah, and
By the Andre Machete, the director
Yeah,
of Mama and the It in
It
Chapter
did
2.
too,
Yeah.
which it did very well, and it shows
It
he's
did.
a competent. I can't speak for Mama,
And
unfortunately.
well, Mama, it as an adaptation was
Yeah.
very, very
Very
faithful
good.
to the book,
we
Yeah.
understand
which
that,
is
which is great.
1138
and
pages.
Stephen King
Yeah.
did like that about
He
it.
loved it.
But
Yeah.
So that's a good person to pick.
with
for it.
with Attack on Titan though, they're really just starting to like talk about making the movie, and there's been talks.
And there are two previous parts 1 and part 2 Japanese adaptations.
Yes,
Yeah,
there were Japanese live action adaptations that I actually saw and was not very impressed.
Yeah,
Not
that's
impressed.
how-
Unfortunately,
yeah.
they looked great. It's one of those things where
I think that the consensus on that was sort of, it was kind of like a middle of the road sort of thing.
I don't know because
Because people were kind of, it was like
I think the reason why
half
people
of
give
much
it a pass
many people
is,
liked it.
I think the reason why people give it a pass is because it's a Japanese film.
Yeah, not
And
many people have
here's the
seen
thing
it.
is, when anime fans are really scrutinizing when Westerners make an anime film.
kind of
We're harsh.
whitewashing.
Yeah.
Whitewashing.
Not even whitewashing, more in the sense of like really harsh on every detail. Where when you see a Japanese company making it, I mean, if you guys saw that movie, Dean, I know
Yeah,
you would think
it's
it's
definitely
garbage.
it's
Did you see
definitely
it?
not for like the regular like moviegoers.
No,
like
it's also I think
specifically
not
for
really good.
the anime
I don't even
fans.
know if it's good for that too. To be honest,
Yeah,
with you.
no, I don't-
It was
I-
pretty bad.
For
but-
how great the anime is
Yeah.
to what they did to that movie.
Yeah, it was just not following
great.
it, and it just goes to show that anyone can screw up an anime.
I
movie.
feel like to turn an anime into a live action movie it's really difficult.
It's a daunting
because,
task.
because a lot of them they involve like effects that you just can't. That kind of look
that
corny.
style
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't
Like
work
It's
well.
hard.
Dragon
There's
Ball,
a
it could just
loss.
look
There's
corny.
something that is lost in translation.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
That's what
From
definitely-
2D to a live action.
Yeah.
That may not be all terrible though right now because one last thing I'd like to talk about with this topic is
Was Scott Pilgrim.
little light at the end of the tunnel for me is the Gundam movie is in production and
Oh, yes.
Sunrise, the company that makes Gundam and
Mm-hmm.
has been making Gundam for years, is heavily involved, and I'm
I
very
believe
excited.
I believe the guy that they may have tapped is the director of Kong Skull Island.
That's correct,
Yeah.
actually.
Jordan
yes.
Vogt Roberts.
He is working on the film alongside.
He's doing Metal Gear Solid as
yes,
well.
he's doing the Metal Gear Solid
can't
film.
wait
And
for that.
I remember he after seeing Ready Player One.
Yep.
I think there was a big tweet that he made that this is
the Gundam model, I believe.
there was a Gundam. There was a
There's a
Gundam,
Gundam
in that, and he
Looks
said
great.
that this is
Yeah,
this
there
is a jumping off point that we can do this. We can
Yeah.
we can
Because
do a live
yes,
action.
in that film, the RX-78-2, the flagship Gundam,
Yeah,
the Gundam,
right.
he looked. I mean, it was accurate.
The
It was
Easter
awesome.
eggs in that movie,
And
though,
the director
like, was so
himself
subtle.
takes a lot of inspiration from anime. You see the Skullcrawler from Kong
And I,
Yeah, it's very
is
similar
based
to-
off of like big image was the first angel from Evangelion,
Yeah.
and also Cubone from Pokemon was a huge influence
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
this creature.
and
very
that's
funny.
anime is kind of influenced in both modern media. And then of course we have our bad adaptations of recent. I mean, we've had bad ones, but real quick, we'll just do some real quick ones before we go.
Cue him.
Death Note.
Would
We'd
not-
like to say thanks for taking one of the most well-written animes and turning it into that.
I heard Defoe was good though.
Defoe did a good job as Ryuk, that's true. So, you know what? We will cheers to Ryuk.
Lighthouse.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today for the first episode of Anime Fun Time. Productive, I think. We had a
Yep.
great discussion.
For sure.
We hope
Yeah.
you enjoyed it, and we'll see
Excited
you
for
next week.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ciao.